Hi, guys, and welcome to Classic Guitar Rock. Um, you're probably thinking, why are we talking about Christopher Cross? Well, I'll tell you. This is the debut album of Christopher Cross, came out in 1979. The dude won 4 Grammys just from this album. He was nominated multiple times. He won Record of the Year, Album of the Year, Song of the Year, New Artist of the Year. There might even have been another one. Uh, and that record, that was the record. No one had done that until recently. Billie Eilish has done the same thing. But I wanted to spend some time talking about Christopher Cross. First of all, this is a beautiful album. I mean, it's a great adult contemporary soft rock, yacht rock album. Production wise, it is a really good album. Obviously, not what we typically consider to be classic rock, but Christopher Cross is a very interesting character for a few reasons. And most folks are not aware of this. He is a rock and roll guy. And in fact, he kind of, as I read about him, he kind of accidentally became this ballad guy, right? Because he had these beautiful ballads, and this album came out, and it just kind of took everyone by storm. Those of you that are old enough to remember, I was only like 12 at the time, but I can remember, man, every time you'd turn on the radio, it was a Christopher Cross song. And then at the Grammys, he won all these awards, and it was just Christopher Cross, Christopher Cross, Christopher Cross. And you'd hear his music playing in the background of sporting, sailing, or Ride Like the Wind. Ride Like the Wind was the theme for the U.S. cyclist team for a few years. I mean, it was just crazy how big of an impact this album and Christopher Cross had at the time. And as is often the case when artists or bands have so much success out of the gates, it's hard to match that. I mean, he did have follow-up albums that were hugely successful. Arthur's Theme, I believe, won a Grammy. So that was another. He's had 2 or 3 number 1 songs and several top 10 songs. And it's great stuff. And to this day, still a great performer. Check him out on YouTube. Sounds really good. He recently was diagnosed with coronavirus, by the way. So hopefully he's doing well. I haven't heard anything in the last few days, but he he was diagnosed with coronavirus. But here's the part that's interesting. First of all, go find a video of Ride Like the Wind. And I don't think people realize this. You hear, even on the album, you hear this tasty guitar playing that's happening at the end of the song, and you assume it's like a studio musician or something. It ain't. It's Christopher Cross. And if you watch live videos of him, the dude just shreds. I mean, he is an excellent guitar player. In the early 70s, as Deep Purple was coming through Austin, Texas, Ritchie Blackmore, I gotta think of this. I think Ritchie Blackmore was sick, and Christopher Cross stepped in and played with Deep Purple. I bet you didn't know that, did you? Here's another cool story. The iconic Stevie Ray Vaughan Stratocaster, the SRV guitar that Stevie Ray Vaughan had, he traded that, or he got that from Christopher Cross. So that was Christopher Cross's guitar before it was Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar. Another thing I bet you didn't know about Christopher Cross. But here's what happened with Christopher Cross. And I don't mean to sound blunt, but I think this is just the reality of it. What happened early 80s, something really big happened in the music biz that changed the face of music. MTV. MTV debuted in 1981. It really didn't have a big foothold until 82, 83. But Christopher Cross does not look like a rock star, right? He didn't look like Duran Duran at the time. He looked like a normal guy, right? Little husky, balding. He looked like your next door neighbor. Very talented, awesome singer, songwriter, guitarist. He did not fit that MTV mold. And in my opinion, that's probably why he kind of faded out so fast, which is a shame because he's a great artist. Even if you're not into adult contemporary music or soft rock or whatever, you can hear the talent there. Great guitar playing, great production. He's a great singer, but he's really a rock and roll guy that just kind of fell into this place of adult contemporary, was super successful, and just could never really match the success of his first album. And I think that's because of MTV. There were lots of bands that kind of weren't able to make that transition to MTV because MTV wasn't so much about music as it was about image, as it was about looks, as it was about style. And that's sad because there were a lot of great artists that MTV was kind of their demise. Anyways, I just thought that was interesting. Wanted to share that with you. I'm a big Christopher Cross fan. I like his music. I like mellow music. I like hard rock music. I just like good music. And Christopher Cross produced a lot of great music. Still out there performing now. And recently diagnosed with coronavirus. Hope you get well soon, Christopher. But check it out. If you aren't familiar with him, at least watch a few videos and you'll see that, man, this guy, he's got some rock and roll cred. He can play with the best of them. Thanks so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Thanks. Bye-bye.